smarter than you, really.
Yeah, a little bit. Welcome to the Gag Reflex.
And this week we have a special guest. Please introduce yourself, sir.
Hello, I am Caleb Gorman.
That was a nice one.
How
Very
about
nice.
you? How about you tell us a little bit about yourself, Mr. Gorman?
What do you want to know?
Just what's your life?
I'm 18 years old.
A little bit more, please.
I'm gonna need specifics. That's a really broad subject.
What do you do in your free time?
In my free time, I like to.
About to turn that off. No, okay, so me and Caleb are also in this class called ISM together. And while did this thing that was for interviews, this guy came up and asked me, and it was kind of a startling question. He was like, I have 15 floors. We're going to the top floor. We're on an elevator. What can you tell me as fast about yourself so that I don't forget about you later? And I was kind of taken aback by that because that is a question I can't answer very well.
What'd you do? Like get naked?
Yeah, in front of the hundreds of people that were there. I
When
just stripped
was
down.
this?
It was whenever we had the business symposium. So whenever we sat down with those professionals and we got interviewed by them.
He said that.
He said that to me. That was the first thing out of his mouth, and it was probably the most startling interaction I've ever had with an adult.
Yeah. I had a pretty strange interaction the other day. If you
Is it
want to hear
with
about it.
Mr.
Tell
Doak,
that
or-
story.
I mean, it's kind of a long story. But,
Yeah.
Please share.
Spin the yarn.
Okay, so a little background on me. I have a friend named Mark, and he is very. Okay. I have a friend named Mark, and he's pretty popular on Twitter. So he has like lots of Twitter connections and stuff. So, in a very strange way, in that he'll see people in public that he's never actually met in person before, but he knows them because of like Twitter and the connections that gives him. So, that's just a small preface. So we were at Sonic, and I saw him, and I was with him, and we saw these two girls in the car next to us, and it was pretty strange. One of them I didn't know either of them, but he seemed to know the one that was driving, and so he waved at her, and then there was the girl in the passenger seat, and she looked like a regular person.
She didn't have any deformities.
Well,
Except for the
no.
hunch in her face.
well, that's what it leads to in a second. So, anyways, so I later hear about a few days later that I find her on Twitter because Mark told me to like go follow her because her friend said that she wanted to hang out with me. So I was like, okay, chill. So she started texting me, and it was like a regular deal, and she was like, let's hang out, and I was like, okay, like no harm in this. It seems like a very very chill environment, like a good situation to be in. So she wanted to go to downtown McKinney for some reason because she was from Frisco, so like she'd never been to downtown McKinney before.
Experienced the wonders of McKinney.
Yeah,
Texas.
it's a
And
beautiful.
Caleb Gorman.
Yeah,
Ooh.
and with
Exploring
one.
two exotic locations at once.
Anyways, so I go to her house to pick her up. She didn't want to meet me down there, so that was probably my first red
In Frisco?
flag. No, in downtown McKinney. I have to go pick her up in Frisco.
And then drive her to downtown McKinney.
Yes. So I drive my car down there, and walk up to her door, and I knock on the door, and her dad answers the door, which is pretty weird because I've never even met her before. So her dad was really nice to me. He was like, "Hey, thank you so much for taking my daughter out." Just a really like a very nice encounter, and I started to think. I was like, lots of thoughts were racing through my head, and he said, "She's still getting ready right now. Here are the keys to the van." And then I just was like, the van. And about this time, she comes rolling out in her wheelchair. So,
What?
So I'm like 6 feet deep at this point. There's not really much I can do. I'm not gonna say, okay, cool. Well, you are a paraplegic. I'm not gonna go on a date with you because you can't walk. Because especially with her dad around. So I just realized that I was like, I'm just gonna have to roll with this. even though there was a very good likelihood of people like seeing me in downtown McKinney.
What a terrible thing to be seen with a paralyzed
Well,
person.
I know. I didn't mean it that way, but it's just like an awkward situation. Like I don't want to have to explain that to someone, especially with her. You know, like I don't want to hurt her feelings either. So we roll out. Literally, I have to like lift her into her seat.
Don't make that joke.
First off, I have to whip this van. It's like a huge Ford F-350s or whatever, like the huge vans, you know, like the typical like rapist white van. But it has the reason that we
And
took
you have
it.
to whip it.
Yeah, we have to whip it. The reason that we took it is because it has the ramp, you know, so you can like wheel her up in there. So every time I had to lift her into her seat, and she was a really nice girl, like not bad looking or anything. It's just she couldn't walk, and she never told me that, which is kind of unfair on my part that I didn't know that coming into it. Because mind you, the first time I saw her, she was in a car at a Sonic, so like I didn't know this. So anyways, we're
like in the back or something like that? Is she in the van?
no, she's in the van. She's in the front seat. I have to
You
lift
just
her.
would put the ramp in there and then close the door and leave her back there.
She's just like kind of
Crack
roll around in the
window.
back.
Yeah.
Caleb, slow down! Every time I turned. Anyways, so we go to downtown McKinney, and I was like, okay, what do you want to eat? And she wanted to get pizza, so we went to this pizza place called Sauce, and so we went inside.
Oh, saucy.
And it was very saucy.
Gosh.
So we went inside, and you know we're Jay chilling, and it's like I don't really know.
You're Jay chilling?
No, we're not gonna let you get away with that.
Okay. Anyways, so like I don't really know. Like it's just like I hadn't really known her that well in the first place, so it's like the regular questions that you ask someone, like I don't know, what do you do in your free time, like that.
Are you
And then after I did ask that. I'm not gonna lie. I was very. I mean, cause like.
Did she have legs?
Yeah, she had legs, and so I asked her. I was like, "So you're in a wheelchair. Why are you in a wheelchair?" I mean, I phrased it a little bit more polite than that, but it was just. I wanted to know because she's in a wheelchair. It's a pretty big, not noticeable thing. And she explained to me that it was a birth deal where she's been paralyzed from the waist down since she was born, and I know it was pretty terrible. But anyways, so she really nice girl, and we finished up dinner, and I had picked her up probably about 7, and about this time it's like 8:15. But it's to the point where I don't know what to talk to her about anymore. Like I feel like
You focused on the chair.
well, no.
No?
No. I don't know what to talk to her about anymore because I feel like I've talked about everything that you could ever talk about with someone that you don't know that well. You know, like she's an acquaintance really. So I was like, okay, let's roll out. Autobots roll out. So I roll her out.
Is that what they call them these days? Autobots?
Yeah, and then she transforms and she can walk.
Yeah. So, anyways.
Jesus Christ.
Wow. Anyways, so back to the story. I wheeled her out of Sauce, and I didn't see anyone, so that I didn't have to really like explain my scenario to anyone that I knew. But
what would you do? Just go.
I don't.
I don't know her. Just wait.
This paralyzed one. She's not with me. She's not with me.
I didn't want someone to be like, "Is this like one of your special friends?" Or like I don't know. I don't know what I was gonna get out of it. So just a strange situation that I'm in, and I couldn't really cop out at any point. I lifted her back into her seat, and we are headed back to Frisco. Now this is a really long drive, like downtown McKinney to like the Frisco Independence area, because that's where she goes to school. She goes to Frisco Independence. I mean that's a really really long drive, and I had to like fill it up with words because, I mean that's what you do, but that I couldn't. It was a pretty quiet drive on the way back, very awkward honestly.
Yeah.
So
Well, how was the drive there?
It was fun because I was like getting to know her like regularly. I mean I was still in really like a lot of shock that she was in a wheelchair. I was texting Mark. I was like, "You're never going to believe this." Like,
He didn't know she was in a wheelchair?
No, he didn't know that either, dude.
You check her Twitter before?
What?
Does she have a Twitter?
Yeah, she has a Twitter, but she didn't advertise that on Twitter, which is pretty weird. Anyways, so I kind of got catfished.
I don't know if it was that, because she looks the same.
Yeah, she does look the same. She looked the same, but she just doesn't walk the same that I thought she would. So
she can talk the talk, but she can't walk the walk.
Oh my god. I guess that's probably the best way of putting it.
Oh man.
Anyways,
I mean, bless her heart. I mean, I feel bad for her.
Yeah,
But that's just some story.
Yeah.
You going out with her again?
Oh no! Wait, it gets much better.
Oh, okay.
The story's not over. So, it's a pretty silent ride back to the Frisco Independence area, and we're driving back, and it's probably like 8:45ish now, because we left at like 8:15. So we've been together for about an hour and 45 minutes. So it's been a quick one. It's been very very quick because I was kind of trying to rush things to get out of there because it almost just made me anxious. Honestly, I don't really know. It was just a strange situation, and I was not really feeling it. And she wasn't as outgoing and talkative as I thought she was. So, man, this is hard to think about. So like we
I think Caleb slept with her.
no, that did not happen.
She slept with him.
So I can so many things I could say.
Hey there, baby. You want me to carry you to bed?
So I get her all situated in her wheelchair. I pull the van into the driveway, but there's a pretty significant walkway into the to get to the front door where I would like return her to her father again. So as we are getting, I am about to roll her up to the front door. At the beginning of the walkway, she turns around and she goes, "Well, are you going to kiss me?" And then I was just like, I looked at her and I was like, I'm really sorry. Like, you're a really nice girl. I was like, but we just met. Like, hopefully we'll get to hang out more. But before I could even finish my sentence, she starts flipping out, dude. Like, she is going ballistic, like rocking in her chair and like throwing just like a fit. And this was not like her, like, or at least what I'd seen of her. I did not.
What was she saying?
She was like just cussing and like she was really frustrated and she's like FD FF, like just like nasty stuff, and she's like rolling back in. Now I see this, and what's going through my head is, oh my god, her dad probably hears this and is going to come out here and think that bad thing, I'm like hurting her or something, because she was having a serious like.
Oh my god, I'm gonna leave her on the porch.
That's
just booked it.
I'm not gonna say that.
We
that
got your license plate, kid.
I am not. Well, maybe they didn't because I was in the van, but I'm not gonna say that I didn't think about that, but I felt like it was probably a good idea to see this one through.
Yeah.
To make sure that her I didn't get like sued or something like that. So, better yet, she falls out of her wheelchair on the ground in the midst of her fit. So she's rocking back and forth and flailing around on the ground, and she grabs my leg and she's yanking on my leg, just like I'm yanking on your legs right now.
Get out.
You.
Get out.
No.
Wait, are you
You said
serious?
none of that happened?
Yeah, no, it's just a joke.
I'm so invested in that, man.
Yeah, I know, me too.
I was like, why didn't he tell me about this earlier?
Yeah, I mean, it's a solid goof.
Where did you hear that?
I heard it a really long time ago, and I never really used it, but I figured that this would be the best time to do it.
You know, I guarantee you, if anyone's listening to this, they just
They
close the
ju-
window.
The ultimate troll.
Oh my god.
Anyways, so what do y'all want to talk about?
I'm really depressed now.
Yeah. I was so like excited for the end of the
this
story.
to be true.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
you wanna go out with the
Paraplegic? Yes, I do.
God.
Now you just look bad.
I mean, not really.
I'm gonna have egg on your face after this.
Egg.
Egg. Why
Yeah.
egg?
That's what
Is
I'm
that a
saying.
phrase?
That's a phrase.
Bro, you have egg all over your face right now.
I mean,
No, I swear it's a phrase.
That was what, 13 minutes. So yeah, that's a thing. See, this is
Why
what
do you have a constitution?
That's my constitution.
Oh, okay.
It's from
Actually, it's all of our constitution.
I keep mine. Yeah, it's our entire country's constitution.
350 million Americans.
I keep mine in my car though.
Do you?
Yeah.
So you can show the police officer when he tries to search you.
Well,
Am I being detained?
I actually have gotten out of some sticky situations with my constitution.
Well, like
He
you were
sharpened-
speeding in a school zone, like
He sharpened
45
the
minutes.
edges and then daggered the cop in the face. And
I know my rights and shivs him.
Not exactly.
What if that's ever been done in prison?
What?
Someone sharpened a pocket constitution and
Well, on
killed a police
MythBusters,
officer?
they used newspaper to make paper mache and then built a crossbow out of it.
Are you serious?
Yeah, and it could
Yeah.
shoot through like
It was
the
honestly
gelatin.
really incredible.
Okay, here's
It could shoot through gelatin.
like the ballistics gel. I mean,
That way, it mimics skin.
like in like
Wow.
tissue, and it could shoot through it. It's pretty cool.
Well, you know what's more effective than that? A rifle.
The cold doesn't bother me anyways.
Was that a Frozen
Yes,
reference?
no, it's a reference to a stupid song that no one will ever get.
You don't think that anyone will ever get a Frozen reference? Because I think that
So it was a Frozen reference.
half of
Was it
America
Frozen?
would- Yeah, it was Frozen.
Yeah, that's.
Oh,
The,
I thought you were talking about the I've Seen Fire and I've Seen Rain.
everyone knows that song too,
It's a James Taylor song.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
or something like that.
Everybody loves
One of the
James Taylor.
Jameses.
I mean, he did write "You've Got a Friend in Me."
Okay.
A popular
I thought
Pixar
that was
song.
Randy Newman.
Actually, you know what? I don't even know. Let me
I thought it was
actually.
Reggie Wayne.
No, let's verify
That's
this.
You Got a Friend
That's
in Me
a
is
Colts
Randy
wide
Newman.
receiver.
You got a
You got a friend in me.
Not like that.
You gotta sing it like Randy Newman.
You
You got a friend in me.
got a friend.
Should look up Cheney.
Oh no,
James.
there's two different songs. James Taylor did "You Got a Friend." Randy Newman did "You've Got a Friend in Me."
Okay, so you guys have seen Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah,
right?
you've
Of
got
course.
You've Got a Friend is James Taylor. Let me
But look
play
up
it.
"You've Got a Friend in
And
Me."
then
You know that
that's
part-
that's Randy Newman.
Oh.
That's Toy Story.
You know the
You know he was like a terrible drug addict.
James Taylor.
Yeah, his whole life fell apart. And now he's like an old man who makes YouTube videos telling people how to play his songs.
Honestly, though, he just came out with a new album
Did
pretty
he?
recently.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
I've heard it's pretty good.
Maybe he's gonna pull like a David Bowie, release his new album, and die.
And then die.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's what
I
I'll
don't
probably
think
do.
David Bowie like anticipated.
You think
No, he did. Have you listened to Black Star?
No.
It's so
he
crazy.
specifically like talks
Mhm.
about
His own
himself
death.
dying.
Yeah, and like leaving. And that's that last video he released, Lazarus, is it's got all these weird like symbolisms. And
I mean,
stuff.
Lazarus was a guy in the Bible that was raised from the dead.
Yeah.
So
And
it's pretty strange.
yeah, it's super cool. It's like
And
artistically very
if you play it
interesting.
backwards, it actually gives you the
date that he's gonna come back.
the
Oh.
GPS coordinates to where Tupac and the rest of the crew is.
They're gonna
Hanging out.
come back and start a super group called the Lazarites. Am I correct?
Yes. And then leading it will be Machiavelli, aka Tupac.
All right.
Very good.
I had a question though.
Okay.
So you guys have seen Shawshank Redemption, right?
Yes.
So you know that part where he breaks into the warden's office and he starts playing music over the intercom for all the
Yeah.
people to
Oh,
listen
I
to?
love that.
If you broke in there, what song would you play, and what would you do while you're in there?
The police.
No,
If I was in the warden's office, what would I do while I was
No,
in
what
there?
would you play
You
over
can
the
play you can play something, and you can do one thing while you're in there before they break in.
Oh, do one thing. I'd like erase my name from all the files and escape.
Because I wouldn't know.
Like, I was just visiting for the day. I decided to try the prison suit on.
I would use the warden's jetpack to escape from the Shawshank Redemption.
The Shawshank will be redeemed.
That's what she says. You fly over.
I've redeemed the Shawshank.
Let's see. What would I play over the loudspeaker? That's a good question, Zach. Leave me to think on that one. I'm gonna go ahead. And
What would you play, Zach?
Man, that's a tough one. That is very tough. Fuck the Police is a really good.
It's a good option.
It's a solid choice, right?
Yeah,
Very fitting.
I'd probably play because I wouldn't have a lot of time. I'd probably play the first song by Tupac so that all the black people go crazy.
You
know.
just want to see all the black people go crazy. Is that your goal in life?
Yeah.
Ultimately, all I want to do is see the black people go crazy.
This is okay. We're getting like a throwback vibe here to the first episode. It's like about 60% of it we had to cut because afterwards, listening to it, we realized how horribly racist it was.
Well, no, because we talked about blackface, but.
That kind of diverged from there.
Ooh. You know what I would play?
What?
I would. Oh man, I would probably play "Watching the Wheels" by John Lennon as a solo artist.
Why?
I don't know, because I feel like that's what those people were doing. They were just chilling, watching the wheels turn around. Because I mean,
No, they're in prison. breaking rocks for money.
I don't think it's a work camp.
That's
what they do in
That's what they
prison,
do. They just
Yeah, the road.
they
haven't
trade
you seen-
cigarettes and
Yeah.
beat each other up and
They
rape
make
each other.
toilet hooch.
Yeah,
Yeah. Haven't you seen Orange Is the New Black?
No,
I have
Oh,
not seen that
It's
one.
so good.
that's
I don't
about
wanna watch that
lesbian.
movie.
That's just like filled with lesbian sex.
Oh
man.
yeah, and that's part of the appeal. It is smut.
What does that even mean? I've never heard that word before.
But it's also a very good show aside from the smut.
And next to the
That's a
anyways, and then for my one action, I would probably pull the revolver out of the thing and I would shoot myself.
Whoa.
That got so dark.
Well, I mean, I'm in prison. Generally, most of the
You'd rather be dead than in prison?
well in that high security prison. First off,
In the Shawshank Redemption, like it seemed like a pretty chill environment. They were all friends.
Yeah, they were all friends.
And like
The
the
guards-
guards would give them like beer and stuff.
I
Like,
mean-
they did good work.
yeah, but I feel like I wouldn't be in good graces with any of those people. I feel like I would be like the prison.
You're not thugging us.
Prison bitch.
Yeah, that's exactly what I would be.
Hey boys, Caleb's here again.
So, yeah.
Who wants to take me to the shower for a pack of cigarettes?
I think I would play Boulevard of Broken Dreams by Green Day.
Good
Yeah, so that everybody's confused. They'll give me a little bit more time with the warden.
Super disoriented.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what all I'm going for.
Yeah, yeah. So the warden would be like, okay, I think I would shoot out the window and then jump out the window and shoot the ground as I fall, so it cushions
propels you
my
back
fall.
up.
Yeah, it cushions
like
my
the
fall.
rocket jump in
I,
Call of Duty.
I don't believe that.
Right.
No, they
And
did it
then-
on Mythbusters, man. It works.
And then I'd run to the gate and I'd turn around and jump and shoot down and go over the gate and then fall over and run away.
And you would just use your bullets to
Yeah.
shoot yourself up.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure. How many bullets do you think the warden has? He probably has a ton. You could just take them all with
it's
it.
a revolver. Though,
Yeah,
so
so
it
it's
only
got
has
So you
six.
could,
Right?
he probably has a speed loader. All
Oh,
wardens do.
yeah.
Wooden's probably.
This is like a
good.
Wild West type prison.
Yeah, so I'd ask him
Like
for a
Shawshank.
speed loader first, and then
Yeah.
he gave it to me.
Give me the speed loader, or the warden gets it.
Yeah, and then he's holding up his speed loader to me like it's a gun.
Can I play a sound?
Yeah, go ahead, mess with here. Wait.
Headshot.
But it's all one guy who records almost all of these things.
It is. It's really annoying.
Really?
Yeah.
No, that's not. That wasn't.
Was that golf?
I don't know what that was, but that wasn't my sound.
Wow, good ears, Jack.
Thanks.
It's like a palette. What would you call that for ears?
Well,
Canal.
well, what's it called?
In the royal.
Well calibrated.
canal.
I don't think that's right. That's like
Okay, I think I found one. I'm anxious to see how this will sound.
wow.
what was that?
Oh my gosh.
That was unsatisfying.
What was it?
It was supposed to be a slap. I thought it was gonna have a little bit more meat on the bone, but it was just a very like.
I can give it to you.
Nah, I don't.
Yeah.
That's not the one I was looking for.
That's what we're all looking for, is a little bit of meat on the bone.
You're right. Speaking of duck call,
Well, there's a duck and a duck call. Oh, there's
what?
Zelda. Well, here, check this out.
Elf
There's the
puzzle.
duck, but then, in addition to that, there's the duck call,
Yeah.
which I really appreciate.
That's fetch.
Yeah, I really appreciate
Zach,
that because
I'm not gonna let that slide. That's the second time you used that word today,
It's gonna come back.
thinking that nobody else.
quit
would
trying to make
understand
fetch
it.
happen. It's not gonna happen. What's Gauntwell?
Welcome. Welcome.
Welcome.
It says
Why
Gauntwell.
are you just playing the soundboard?
I don't know.
It sounds like you recorded that.
No, it's Nader. I think it's short for Terminator, but they couldn't use the word Terminator because, like, copyright. But I could do a pretty good Arnold impression.
Yeah, it sounds like that.
Get
Yeah, I can't tell the
to
difference.
the
between that.
chopper!
That was a good one.
Yeah, that was great.
I went to Honduras on a mission trip with my church, and upon my return, I became very sick. Well, it wasn't even really my return. It was while I was there as well. I ate this like mystery meat covered with fried bananas and sweet ketchup, and may have been horse. I don't know what it was, but it was really quite disgusting, and it didn't set well with my stomach either. So all throughout the week, me and a lot of other people in the group have been having lots of issues as far as our digestive tracts go. And I came home, and I thought that I had all my issues sorted out. I thought we were chill, and so Zach invited me to come hang out with him and a friend, and we were gonna go. We were in like 7th grade.
We were
so
building
gonna-
a fort down the
we were
creek.
like we were building a fort in the woods. So like it was a fun thing that we did. So we were down there, and we had just finished up for the day. It was towards the evening, and we were walking back, and then it just hit me like a freight train, and there was really no stopping it. I was like, Zach, I have to poop right now, and Zach thought I was kidding. I mean, because it wasn't beyond me to generally say things like that. Um, so he was like, "Oh, that's funny, that's funny." No, but I really had to poop. So I just dropped and set up camp right there, and I let out some real bile. And so I was expecting. I have two friends with me. I had Zach and we had our friend Darian with us. So I was thinking, I bet that they could go and they could help me out and maybe find me something to clean my body with, to use a euphemism. And but no, they did not help me out at all whatsoever.
In fact, I think we walked away and started laughing.
No, you definitely started taking pictures of me we probably still have.
They're on my old phone. I
And
still have them.
I remember asking for maybe just like something to wipe with, and Zach throws this like nasty like STD ridden rag at me that he found in the river.
It was
Like
in the river.
it was all dirty and covered in covered.
STDs?
I don't know. Just you'd look at it and you'd understand.
Yeah, it was really gross.
It was so disgusting. And he's like, "Here, use this." And I was, I mean, at that point, I was kind of thankful that he really found anything because I was really at a moment of weakness, and it was I was so vulnerable at that point. Um, so he throws this rag at me, and of course I use it to clean myself up, and then I see Zach is blowing his nose in the corner of my eye, and I look over, and he has a wad of Sonic napkins in his hand that he had just had in his pocket. And I said, "Hey, will you give me one of those?" And he said, no. And then he threw one in the creek for me to like duck walk over to go fetch so I could go grab it. A single one, and it was already kind of drenched in water. And so I was frantically chasing this down to the creek while they were watching me.
It was pretty fast, too. He was waddling with his pants down after this one napkin.
And even though Zach probably had at least 20 or 30 more in his hand, it was a lot of napkins.
I had so many in my pocket.
No, he made me use the AIDS towel as well as the single napkin. So I had to end up calling my father to come pick me up and take me home so I could get all settled and cleaned up. And
Yeah, you did not have a good time.
it was a messy day.
That creek was full of a lot of memories. It's a shame that they're tearing that down now.
You've been saying they're gonna tear it down for the past
They have, though.
3
How
or
are they
4
gonna
years.
tear down a creek?
We're gonna tear it down. You said
Mr.
that they're gonna
Gorbachev, tear down this creek.
You've been saying they're gonna tear down that creek for the past like 4 years, but they haven't touched it.
I'm talking about the woods. They took down the woods.
No, they haven't.
Yeah, they did.
The woods are still there.
You
I
haven't
drive
been
by
over-
them
I'm
every
talking about the
single day.
apartments. Next to the apartments. On Orchid.
Yeah, but that wasn't like even close to where that.
Yeah, but it's all connected.
Yeah, I know, but like all
And-
of nature is connected, really.
That was
Shut
deep.
up. Wow. But, okay, so I was back there, and it was kind of like, we called it what I'm talking about whenever I say the meadow with that big digger in there that
Yeah.
had been lit on fire.
Yeah.
Right? We called it the meadow, and it was surrounded by fairly tall trees. And the good part about it was it had this digger, like a cat digger, you know what I'm talking about? Little one arm. And it had been
A
burned.
shovel is what he's saying, I think.
Yeah.
Oh,
A really
okay.
large shovel.
A really large shovel that a man gets inside.
Almost like a spaceship or what?
Yeah, almost.
I'm envisioning. Okay.
Right. Anyway, a couple kids had thrown, from what I heard from Logan's parents, which is one of my friends that I went down there with, and I was down there with him on this occasion. From what I heard from then, kids got mad at them I'm not going to use the word tearing down, deforesting the parts around the creek.
Tear
And
down the creek.
they had been drinking on it, and then they lit a beer can case on fire, right?
Beer doesn't burn.
Well, that's what they did. It was some kind of alcohol.
I mean,
and
they
then-
did it, so.
But anyway, regardless,
Dude, no, Logan told it to me, so it's true.
it could be just totally BS. But they burned it down, and it just kind of sat there. I guess the workers had forgot about it. But we were down there, and we like to go back there and play airsoft a lot. And so we were down there digging trenches. Right? We spent hours working on trenches for this place, and so we were digging a trench, and it's about 5:30, and all of a sudden I look up, and I'm not even joking. It was the scariest moment in my entire life. So I look up, and I'm like, there are 7 or 8 coyotes all around us.
Ooh.
Like, and the tree line that they're at is about 50 yards away, and I see a baby, and I see 3 kind of adult-looking ones to the left of it, and then about 4 or 5 to the right of it, right? And so that like I was like, Logan, dude, we gotta go. I was like, don't run. Let's not try and scare him or anything like that. And so
I could kill a coyote. I don't think you realize how small coyotes are. Like
well,
coyotes.
we were pretty little. Like,
Yeah.
we
Oh,
were like
I guess I didn't think about
we were in
that.
6th grade. Like
Yeah.
they're probably up to our necks.
Dude, once you
Up
reach
to
like
your-
10, you should be able to kill a coyote.
Honestly,
Very
you should. Because, I mean, coyotes are about the size of like
You just need like
What,
a well-placed karate
smaller
chop
smaller than
Right.
a house dog. So just one swift kick to the
to the chin.
to the chin.
They can get sent spiraling over like into
Right.
the horizon. You know,
But
like
I could click it. I could kick a
Let this
coyote
wig.
clean over them mountains. You know.
anyway, we get out of there and we start walking back, and
Back in the
I'm not even
days.
joking. It was like one of them just said attack formation, because 3 of them, those 3
A
that
squadron of coyotes.
I'm not even joking. 3 of them take off, and so we're about in the middle of the field, and 3 of them take off out of the tree line on our left flank, and then 3 of them come out on the right flank, and then 3 of them are coming straight at us.
Call of Duty Black Ops.
Seriously,
Coyote
like.
action.
And then so we take off running, and like, because we're like, okay, we're not gonna walk now, you know. So we take off running, and then the only thing, I'm not even joking, the only thing that saved us was we're running this way, and we see the bobcat that lives down there, which is a lot more deadly, run right past us towards the coyote. So we're like, okay. And like we went back there. It took us like a month and a half to go back, even back in there and get our shovels, and then go back. Like it was terrifying.
It sounds like a pretty terrifying experience.
Yeah.
And scarring.
It was. It was.
Did you have developmental issues after that happened?
Yeah.
Did you wake up at night and see the coyotes?
Yeah.
I like it tonight.
We sleep back there, and they killed a couple people's dogs too. They just come up to the gate and just take them away. So.
Wild pack of family dogs.
What is paradox?
Wild
Pack
but
of
you never
family
heard that song?
dogs. No.
The song.
I've been listening to a lot
Wild
of.
pack of family dogs came running through the yard, and as my little sister played, the dogs took her away, and I guess she was eaten up okay. She was eaten up okay. No?
No, and I hope it sounds a lot better than the way you sing
Well, excuse you. I'll have you know, I was in the Valley Creek Elementary School choir.
Were you?
Well, I went to one of the practices, because she said if we joined, they'd take us to Gaddy Town. We'd have like an overnight there. No, Amazing Jake's, that's what it was. And I went to one of the meetings and I hated it, so I never went back.
What story?
It's kind of how I feel. About, that's how I feel about school sometimes.
I went once, didn't like it, decided not to go again.
That's selling
I'll get my
drugs was the life
GED.
away from me.
Yeah.
I like to sell drugs more. It's a lot more fun. I like the thrill.
Yeah, me too.
Nothing more thrilling than spending a night in jail.
Like, especially doing it in front of the cops and to see how far I
Yeah.
get.
That's also what's so great about drunk driving.
Oh, yeah. Just try and go
Nothing
80.
gets the adrenaline pumping more than being absolutely smashed behind the wheel on the freeway.
A true thrill. It's the thrill of the kill, honestly.
I did a 130 with .8 in my.
Oh my
God. What's your record? You like have to multiply them together.
Hit your kill streak.
And you find your average for that night.
Right. That's how it works. So
Well,
you can't go 0. You have to go a little buzzed.
I've been listening to a lot of '90s music lately.
Nirvana.
Well, no, just like I'll just get on Spotify and I'll pull up the '90s, like all out '90s or totally '90s playlists, and I'll just.
So
listen
like
to
Holla
it.
Back Girl.
No, that's more early 2000s hip hop.
You know, I never knew the words to that song.
I know.
I just thought
That's exactly what I did too. Cause there ain't no holla back girl, and the, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's
Maybe you guys
lots
are
of.
just dumb. Ow. We need to start doing this like on the other side of the room so that can't happen anymore.
Well, we're all in separate corners so no one can strike one another.
Yes. I'm fearing for my life right now.
Yeah, there's some weird songs on here. Oh, this is a good one. Would you guys like me to play it?
Not particularly.
No, not
I'm
really.
gonna play anyways.
That was a good choice.
It's called Livin' La Vida Loca.
Yeah,
You
we
guys
all.
have
It's
to
from
look-
Shrek.
It's from Shrek.
It was in Shrek.
That's
No,
the
it's
only,
Shrek 2.
That's the only
That's what
reason
it's
it was
from,
ever
yeah.
written is because it was from Shrek.
It was from Shrek 2.
I feel like Shrek made a lot of songs popular that
like Smash Mouth.
otherwise
I feel
would
like it was Disney just in general.
like that. No,
Shrek was DreamWorks.
Shrek was DreamWorks.
Oh,
but
well,
sorry,
idiot.
Zach.
God. How about you don't contribute if you have nothing to say?
See, this is why we need the recordings.
Yeah, because people are reaching into each other's crotches.
I think the more appropriate.
I insulted Zach's intelligence on the subject of animated feature films, and he grabbed my TT.
I think the
Your
more
TT?
appropriate region would be
more like your
crotchal
tata.
region.
Ooh.
Anyways,
Ow.
that was a chord. I don't think you really took the time to consider how bad that would hurt.
Yeah, I did, actually.
Anyways,
It didn't break skin.
Damn, here.
No, we do that. Come to you.
there's also that other song. Then I saw her face.
Yeah.
It's
See, that was
it's a
Monkey
monkey song
yeah.
from like the '60s, and then Shrek made that
And then
song
they had
blow up as well too.
the voice actors did the singing. It was
Yeah.
Donkey, or Eddie Murphy. Remember?
Don't
I
get.
always thought that was interesting. I was watching this thing on Monkeys, and you know how people play peekaboo with their kids. I think I've told you guys this already, but like how
They played peekaboo with the monkeys, too?
well, actually, yeah, they do. So the way monkeys' brains work, if you go like this to a monkey, they don't understand. So if you put your hands in front of your face for a monkey, right, then they don't understand that you're not there anymore. Like they think that you're gone.
Uh-huh.
And it's the same thing with children. When I think it's like 3 or younger, is that they don't understand the concept that you're not there anymore. So that's why they find it amusing. You know what I mean? And it was just kind of interesting that like monkeys had that, but they have it for their entire life. So I guess if you ever want to hide from a monkey, just cover your face, and then you're good.
Dude, I heard some guy did that to a monkey, and the monkey ripped his arms off.
Wow, just his arms.
Yeah, it
That's
was
like
crazy.
something off
So like you
YKUK.
could, it was like you could see his face again.
Something like Whitest Kids You Know.
Yeah.
That skit where they're spinning the Wheel of Fortune.
Oh god.
Or it's not Wheel of Fortune, it's
Wheel of Money. But due to copyright reasons, we have to change the way we say the title. We can no longer yell "Wheel of Money." It's now "Wheel of Money." Did I tell you the story about the whitest kids you know at my friend's mom's funeral?
What?
Nope. Okay. I was at this kid named Tommy Ackerman. His mom passed away a few years back
Wow.
in like 8th grade, 8th or 9th, and it was from I was in Cub Scouts with him. So me and a bunch of the people, it was like me, David Bryant, Parker Brooks, those type of people, and we were there. And his dad came up to us and he said, hey, this has been really rough. If you guys could just like act normal, try to cheer him up, it's all good. So we're standing around.
Probably the worst thing to say to kids like you.
Well, we're standing around, and it was all good. He was he seemed fine and everything. And David Bryant goes, well, we're talking about the whitest kids you know. And David Bryant goes, and there's that skit where it's the classroom and the teacher makes them guess which one's mom died.
Oh my god.
So he's like, oh man, my favorite skit is the one in the classroom where the kid's mom dies. And we all just kind of look at him and get like, oh, you guys don't know that one? It's the one where like the kids are sitting in the classroom, and then the teacher comes in and says, oh, I have bad news, students. One of your mothers just died. And then she makes them like guess each one. And then at the end she's like, oh, it was Timmy's mom that died because she'd been drinking. So we're all at this, he spends probably 3 or 4 minutes talking us through every
Describing.
detail of this skit. And we're all just staring at him. And there's like a good 10 seconds of silence, and this kid, he looks at me and goes, my mom died. So I go, ah! And we just like, it was the single most awkward situation I've ever been
Did he
in.
really say that?
Yeah.
Oh, my
God.
gosh.
It was physically painful. What are you?
I don't even know. Just
Muslim.
kidding.
What are you?
Muslim.
If I had to label my,
Ah!
Caleb's also brown.
I'm probably as white
For
as.
those of you who don't know Caleb, he has lovely olive-colored skin.
He's about 5'7".
Neither of those facts are true. I am approximately 5'11", and
300 pounds.
I am not 300 pounds. I'd shoot for more 400.
Oh.
And then
Oh, I saw this video the other day. This guy, and he was super fat, and he had like this big paunch. And the video was titled "Concealed Carry." And this dude takes a handgun and lifts up his paunch, sticks it in there, and lowers his paunch again.
What they
It's like his big stomach that hangs down over your.
Big stomach is different than big paunch.
No, a paunch is the same thing.
I've never heard the term paunch.
No,
be
that's the
used
thing. It's like
before.
the same thing as like fupa, you know?
No.
Yeah,
Fupa.
fronter. It's fupa, fronter upper. I mean, fatter upper penile area. Is what it
Yeah,
stands for.
that's this kid, same deal. And so
Paunch.
he lifts up and he sticks a gun in there and lowers it.
I'm gonna
again.
shoot your paunch. That sounds so dirty. Paunch.
You paunch liquor.
Same.
Doing that.
Zach is docking.
He's connecting the two male ends of my charger. I think this is symbolic of a bigger thing. This is very Freudian to watch. He's
We're
inserting
using
one.
a Freudian approach to psychology.
He's inserting one end of the male charger into the slot in the
Is that
other
what you
end of the
think
male
of? Because
charger.
I think that you're actually the one that has a problem if you're giving genders to the core.
Well, you're the one that has this awkward. That's what they're called. It's called a male adapter. Give it a Google.
It
Give
is
it a Google.
called that.
Yeah. And then the female is the hole.
How does that work?
Okay,
I don't
well,
understand.
then which one's female? Which one's male?
They're both
of them
male.
are male.
No, you don't know that because this one.
Yeah, because
This
look,
one has a
look,
hole
let
that
me
I'm putting
explain. Because this one here, it slides.
It is a hole.
Yeah, the hole is part of like the USB that goes into the whatever.
Honestly, there's no.
You believe whatever you want. I'm gonna make the icon for this episode of the podcast just a picture of both male ends of this cord.
Before or after I end you.
Before.
Can I? Okay, I feel like this has gone on for too long, so I would like to end the podcast with a poem.
Okay.
Okay, so this is a poem that is near and dear to my heart. Actually, it's not so near and dear because I can't even remember the first line, but I do know the rest. I do know the rest of the poem, so I'm just going to start it off. I hate. You knew that when you took my seed, woman. So bring forth the doom spawn from your stink crevice and prove the gypsy wrong.